the exemption from liability does not cater for negligence, gross negligence, and willfulness. Lord, what other bases for fault are there? If the exemption from liability does not deal with those grounds for fault, in other words, if the local authority is liable either because they were negligent, gross negligent, or acted lawfully, then the exemption would have no purpose. The purpose of the exemption is to exempt from liability for any act. It doesn't mention the basis for fault because it incorporates any basis for fault, because what's exempt from liability is any act by the local authority and the other forms of conduct. In fact, it's the other way around. The standard formulation for an exemption is if it seeks to create a carve-out from the exemption, it would say there's an exemption from liability except in relation to gross negligence or willfulness. But the fact that it doesn't carve out particular forms of conduct means that everything is covered by the exemption.
What on earth is Advocate Pashka saying? What does it mean? What is this Section 23?
Section 23 basically is an exemption clause. So this entitles them, or it holds them, never to be liable, either in negligence or in intent. So they can get out of any liability whatsoever. They're completely immune from being liable.
So they can do anything. They can destroy a house.
Anything they want.
But isn't that unconstitutional?
Well, this is what we're doing now.
And when you say what we're doing, what do you mean?
We're doing that case now with regards to the constitutionality of that clause.
Of Section 23.
Correct.
So, Barry, we've had our damages summons on the 18th of November 2020, and now what's this?
This is an email from Deirdre Olivier, dated the 29th of January 2021.
Okay, what time did you get it?
Just after 10 past 5, basically, in the evening.
Okay, and what's this email about?
Well, there's a letter which regards the supplementary valuation SV03. And she has an attachment as well.
Okay, what's the attachment?
She's got a report for the supplementary valuation SV03 2018, which is some 100 pages.
Okay. Can you get down? What's that? Just go back there. What was that one? That's a report. That's some sort of, can you go back? Because this is what you're paying for, my ratepayer friends. Okay, so what's this about?
Okay, this is some analysis by Ron Pashka, advocate, and it would seem he's analysing certain things about the judgment.
The 10th of February 2020 judgment.
Correct.
Bizarre, isn't it, that he'd be analysing something when she's got an affidavit from him already. Bizarre. Anyway, so let's go down. So what's all this? This is just more
correspondence.
Correspondence.
Stuff that you sent.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. There's that. Oh, this looks a bit interesting. Is this... okay, go on, go down.
Moffat now.
Moffat now. Okay. So, can you just go back? Does Moffat say... What is this CV? He's got a CV there. What does it say? It says he's a civil engineer or something.
Civil engineer, structural and geotechnical consultant.
Does he say he's got any geotech? Can you just go up slightly there? No, down, sorry. Does he say anything that in his qualifications is geotechnical?
No, he's just got a BSc in civil engineering.
So there's nothing geotechnical. So, and in fact, we looked at this, didn't we? And we thought, well, you know, he's no more qualified than our engineer, Richard Whittaker. So we thought, why do we need a geotechnical engineer?
That's right. He's just an engineer.
He's just a civil engineer. Unless there are qualifications there that were
He's
missing,
had
but I
some
don't think so.
experience here. too.
Yeah, so is Richard. Richard's had a lot of experience too. Anyway, let's go down, down, down. Experience isn't a qualification, is it?
No.
Okay, so we go down. Let's go down for faster, slightly faster. There you go. Just carry on. Okay, there's the NHBRC. We don't. That's totally irrelevant. Don't know why that's there, but anyway. Okay, we've got some building plans.
There you go.
So you can't see any pictures of report. There's nothing there, is there? No pictures of reports, no photographs. Down, go down. Just go all the way down to the end, Barry.
Going up to the top.
No, we want to go down to the... Was that the bottom?
Yep.
So there's absolutely...
Emails, mine, yours, hers, Pashka's analysis, and just certain properties.
No photographs, no reports, nothing from the BCO. Okay, and that's how we based our engineer reports, isn't it? That's how we based Richard Whittaker's replies.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Barry. When do we get this email?
On the 6th of April at 3:01.
Also attached to the email was a letter from Deirdre Oliver dated the 6th of April 2022 informing us that Mr. Moffat was going to represent them as their expert engineer. What did it have in this
Had the
bundle?
expert bundle. 187 pages.
And we'd never seen this before, hey?
No.
This was full of expert reports, photographs, references that we'd never seen. Now let's go back to that email received at 3:01 on the 6th of April, written to the VAB chair, Advocate Coetzee, containing an extra 87 pages of reports and photographs we had never seen. She writes to the VAB chair, Advocate Coetzee, "We hereby, as directed by you, enclose the report of the city's expert, Mr. Robert Moffat, of Moffat Consulting CC, prior to the deadline of 7th April 2022, and will email a copy thereof to the appellant's legal representative." This report was received 5 working days before the hearing, with an extra 87 pages that we hadn't seen. My attorney tried to send me the email, but it kept bouncing back because the files were too big. So he sent me a link to the expert report on the 6th of April at 16:29. We then had a power cut, so I didn't receive it, or I didn't see it until the morning of the 7th. My engineer, Mr. Whittaker, was not free to consult with me and my attorney until the 13th of April, one day before the hearing. We arranged to meet Engineer Whittaker at his property in Pinelands because we had power outages early in the morning. Pinelands then announced suddenly that they were having power cuts, and Mr. Whittaker WhatsApped me to ask if he should come to Backoven, but it was already too late, so we decided to just carry on with the meeting without power. Whilst my attorney was consulting with engineer Mr. Whittaker, he received an email on his cell phone, but he couldn't deal with it until he got back to his office later that evening.
13 April, expert bundle. She's given the same expert bundle again. A huge file.
Yeah, which you couldn't send to me.
Yeah. There's the index to his...
To
Moffat's.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Moffat. And is there another index there?
Didn't ever get anything.
There's no other index there. On the 13th of April 2022 at 10 to 10 p.m. at night, my attorney and I received an upgraded report from our engineer Richard Whittaker. Engineer Richard Whittaker then printed out 5 copies and he was going to bring them in the morning. Unfortunately, I couldn't read them until the next morning because we had a power cut. So I sent an email back jokingly to our engineer and I said we have an imminent power cut and I'll read it in the dark. Clearly I couldn't. When we arrived at the hearing, we were ushered into a back room while the VAB board and the city were clearly in a meeting, and they'd been there for some time. Well, it looked like they had anyway. We were then called into the room, and I was sitting at table 8, my engineer table 9, and my attorney Barry Varkle at table 10. I had no idea who the other people were. It was extremely frightening. I was placed opposite Deirdre Oliver, the city attorney, who is extremely aggressive, and I was absolutely shocked to see that their senior counsel, Pashka, was there, who was doing the damages claim. It didn't make sense to me, and it was terrifying.
Maybe as a start, you see, I don't wear a mask for the simple reason, and one is I would request of you, whenever you speak, you take off your mask. I'm wearing 2 cochlear implants, so I also rely on lips to properly hear what everyone has to say. And I think in this instance you would need me to hear what you say. Let me introduce, yes, maybe before we start, I'm sitting as if we are in some kind of a boxing match with 2 opposing sides opposite each other. That is merely because of the nature of this room. We can't have it another way, but this is not a boxing fight, this is an appeal hearing. So I will be the referee of that.
I have 2 problems with our opening statement from VAB Chair Coetzee. Number 1, I was put right opposite Deirdre Oliver and her counsel. Why did I have to be put there? Why? It was done with intention to intimidate me. And number 2, if this isn't a boxing match, why do I need a referee?
The city is represented, Mr. Pashka, by you.
Yes. Indeed.
Okay, can you introduce the rest of the people that's around the table, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. I'm Advocate Pashka. I'm instructed by Deirdre Olivier from Fairbridges, Wertheim and Becker. We act for the city in this matter. There will be 2 witnesses for the city. It's the valuer, Mr. Angelo Jepta, and the engineer for the city is a structural and geotechnical engineer, Mr. Robert Moffat.
The CV of Mr. Moffat that the City of Cape Town provided me has no geotechnical engineer qualifications, and why I did not bring a geotechnical engineer to the VAB hearing. I have asked ad nauseum for the city to send me his qualifications as a geotechnical engineer, but my emails remain unanswered.
I will also, as part of the powers entrusted to the board by the Act, administer oaths to people that's going to testify before the board, so that we at least know that people who testify, give evidence, is committed to the evidence that they are giving.
Eventually, during the hearing, we received 2 files. One was a city expert bundle. This report was sent on the 6th of April, 5 days before the hearing. My engineer didn't have time to go through any of this. I didn't have time to go through any of it. Reports, photographs, Jepta's photographs, never seen before. The City of Cape Town lied under oath at this VAB hearing. They said I'd received it on the 29th of January 2021. Well, it's clear at the beginning of this film that was a lie. After 5 hours and 51 minutes into the hearing, we had nothing to eat, no refreshments, nothing. We were treated like criminals. My engineer, Richard Whittaker, is a gentleman in his 70s. I am a woman in my 60s. It was quite a hostile meeting and extremely distressing not knowing who any of these people were. It was horrible. And just listen to this.
Okay, just turning to the photos that you used in the report, I just want Mr. Pashka, through you, when Mr. Moffat presented his report, was the full report made available to the appellant?
Was the full report including the annexures?
Yeah, in 2020. when Mr. Moffat made his report, was that made available to the appellant?
So what was made available is what's in the city's bundle,
No.
which is a 100-page bundle with the supplementary valuation 3, my opinion, various correspondence, and then Mr. Moffat's report. That report had some annexures to it.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been made available to the appellant,
Was.
otherwise Mr. Whittaker wouldn't have been able to make a review or to do his review.
So this report that we've gone through now was made available
Okay.
in 2021, January 2021.
Never.
Mr. Moffat, you used quite a number of photos. I see the 2010 photos. Where did they come from?
It comes from Marius Lawrence, and there's a date stamp on the
Okay, so that is
Yeah.
the photos that was on the
Of
city's record
city
that
record.
they made available.
He did an assessment of the property before the Bradbury build.
Marius Lawrence did nothing before the Bradbury build. Nothing. And as you can see, the site was a vacant site. We'd already had 1 month of reckless, dangerous, illegal demolitions. This is just misleading a hearing with intention to deceive.
Then I see that you also have photos that were shown at the previous board hearing to us by Mrs. Phillips of the excavations on
Yes,
57.
that is of the
And I think
documentation.
which played quite an important role in our decision that day. Let me see if I can get a hold of them. It showed the excavation works on 57, and it also showed,
No, not
especially in 54. there was-
58 probably in 54,
Yeah.
yeah, 54.
So you've seen those?
I've seen it.
You've seen those photos as well. Mrs. Phillips, Mr. Moffat is all yours now.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, just to provide you the reference, you asked if Mr. Moffat's report was made available to Ms. Phillips.
Yes.
It's at page 57 of the city's bundle is the letter. It's a letter from the city's attorneys dated 29 January 2021.
Okay.
And that says it's to Mr. Barkle, and it says attached is the supplementary valuation report, SVO3, along with its annexures, and one of the annexures is Mr. Moffat's report.
Thank you. Mrs. Phillips, any questions?
Yes. Just to remind you exactly what we received on the 29th of January 2021.
There's a letter which regards the supplementary valuation SVO3. Moffat now.
Moffat.
Okay,
So you
from
can't
0.
see any pictures of report. There's nothing there, is there? No pictures of reports, no photographs. Thank you. I never received these photographs and the report. I kept asking for the annexures. I kept asking for Fairbridge's brief. Nothing. I didn't have any of this. I can prove it from my emails. So I only received these photographs on Thursday. Was it Thursday, Barry? I don't remember now because I've had nothing to eat and I'm very funny. What date did we receive these? Was it last Thursday?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Then we were ambushed by Olivia with a second file that we'd never seen. She'd never sent it to us. Never. An index to the bundle for the SVO1 and SVO3 VAB hearing. We never saw this. There are 3 pages of index of record, and the last page is item number 45, and it finishes at page 266. There you go. You see Miss Oliver's name there and her firm. How could anybody check that? During a hearing, plus 87 pages of reports never seen in Mr. Moffat's report. Deirdre Oliver never sent this bundle, or whatever it is she wants to call it. She never sent the indexes of record. Nothing. We get to the VAB hearing absolutely ambushed by this woman. My engineer, Richard Whittaker, was not allowed to submit his report of reply to Mr. Moffat's report that he'd only seen the night before. That is an abuse of power. And I do not believe that Section 23 allows the City of Cape Town to lie under oath and to mislead a court, any court, with intention. So the final icing on the abuse of City Cape Town cake was on the 4th of May 2022, long after the VAB appeal hearing. We asked for the remedial costs that Mr. Moffat had estimated to repair my subsiding property caused by illegal building works of my immediate neighbour 88 centimetres away from the common boundary. And it was 150,000 excluding VAT. And she goes on again about bundled documents, index, and 169 pages. It's totally meaningless and intimidation. And attached to her email was a remedial estimate of Mr. Moffat's cost to repair my property. This was never given to us prior to the hearing or in any of her bundles of evidence. Notwithstanding, you need a microscope to read it. It makes no sense to me, my attorney, my engineer, or my quantity surveyor. I've now had to get a second opinion from a second quantity surveyor, of which now we're in the process of, submitting costs to another court of law, which you will have to pay for, my fellow ratepayers. The city are spending your money, which is why I will be reviewing this corrupt VAB appeal.
The wind of change sweeping across